Because I'm an extraordinary person.
No, no, you're not an extraordinary person. You're a difficult person.
I'm not. You're difficult.
I mean, this is the last. It's all right. Go on, sit down.
Reno Omokri was a man many Nigerians respected. He spoke with confidence, dressed in sharp suits, and always appeared beside luxury cars. On social media, he looked like someone with power, wisdom, and money. People called him the voice of reason, someone who always had something smart to say about politics and life. But behind that perfect image, one man says he saw something different. That man was Mike Arnold, a former mayor from Texas who once trusted Reno as a close friend. Mike says the first time he visited Reno, something felt off. The expensive car Reno showed off online wasn't even his.
In the Lamborghini Murcielago, I'll show you my Lamborghini. Now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to hide the number plate so that you, obedience, cannot trace my house. All right, so just watch me.
He borrows them for photos, Mike claimed. Every post is planned, every picture meant to make him look untouchable. To many, Reno was a leader. But Mike says he was more of a performer, a man who built his name through carefully crafted stories. Reno talked about meeting top government officials, powerful business people, and even international figures. But according to Mike, most of those stories never happened. He says Reno's image wasn't built on truth, it was built on attention. And for a long time, it worked. People trusted his words. They believed his version of every story. But one trip, one invitation, would soon change everything. Because when Mike Arnold boarded that plane to Nigeria, he thought he was going on a mission for peace. He didn't know he was walking straight into a storm that would shake everything Reno Omokri had built. In early October 2025, Reno Omokri made a bold move. He announced that he was bringing 2 Americans to Nigeria. One of them was his longtime friend, Mike Arnold, and the other, a filmmaker. He said it was a fact-finding mission. The goal? To prove to the world that there was no ongoing Christian targeting in Nigeria.
Gibbs. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for coming in. And let me start with you, Reno Omokri, because you're the one who brought these 2 very prominent gentlemen to Nigeria and into our studios. Tell us why.
Well, when Senator Ted Cruz began this tale about a Christian genocide, and Gregory Abbott, the governor of Texas, followed along with Congressman Moore, I felt it was my patriotic duty to reach out to the Republican Party and officials who have a desire to know the truth. And so I was able to get Mayor Mike Arnold, a Republican elected mayor from the state of Texas, who is personally friends with Senator Ted Cruz and Gregory Abbott, and also an associate with President Trump. And I invited him over to Nigeria for fact-finding. Not just him, I invited also a filmmaker. I wanted them to see for themselves, because Senator Ted Cruz, a lot of people in Nigeria think he doesn't mean well, but I think he means well. But the thing is, he doesn't have the right information.
That people were only
He's
facing local community clashes, not religious harm. When Mike got the call, he trusted Reno. They'd known each other for years. Reno promised him big meetings, with government leaders, security chiefs, and even religious heads. "You'll see everything for yourself," Reno said. So Mike packed his bags and flew to Abuja. Cameras rolled, journalists waited, and Reno made sure everyone knew his guests were in town. He even introduced Mike on live TV, calling him the current mayor of Blanco, Texas, and a personal friend of U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. But here's the twist, Mike says none of that was true. He wasn't the mayor anymore. He'd finished his term months before. And he wasn't close friends with Senator Cruz, he'd only met him once, years ago. Still, Reno used those words to make the visit sound powerful, important, official. To make it look like he had the support of the United States. But as the trip went on, Mike started noticing cracks. The meetings Reno promised never happened. The people they were supposed to meet were suddenly busy. And everywhere they went, Reno seemed more focused on the cameras than the mission. Mike began to wonder, was this really about truth, or was it all just another show? Because what happened next would make him question everything he thought he knew about his friend. A few days after arriving in Nigeria, Mike Arnold found himself sitting inside the brightly lit studio of Arise TV, one of the country's biggest news channels. Reno Omokri had invited him there, promising it would be a moment of truth, a chance to show the world that the situation in Nigeria wasn't what people thought. Reno looked calm and confident as the cameras started rolling. He smiled, adjusted his tie, and began to speak. He told the anchors that Nigeria was not facing any targeted attacks against Christians. He said the problem was simply a local farmer and herder issue, nothing more.
Performing burial every day, and they expect us to silence. Now it's an order. Nigerian government came out openly and denied there is no massacre, there is no genocide.
Then he said something that shocked many viewers. He compared the situation to problems in America, saying, "Calling it genocide makes no sense. It's like saying all black people in America are being wiped out, it's simply not true." But sitting there, Mike Arnold's heart sank. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. This was the same man who once spoke against injustice and claimed to defend truth. Now, he was denying what people across villages had been crying out about for years. Later that day, the interview clip went viral. Reno's words spread like wildfire across social media. Some praised him for speaking facts, but many were furious. They said Reno was trying to protect the government and silence victims. And behind the scenes, Mike had had enough. He said Reno's live TV appearance wasn't about finding truth, it was about creating a headline, one that made him look loyal and powerful before those in authority. When Mike returned to his hotel, he knew he couldn't stay silent anymore. That night, he opened his phone, logged into X, and began typing a message that would soon shake Nigeria's online space. That night, Mike Arnold broke his silence. He posted a long message on X, and within minutes, the internet went wild. In his post, Mike said he had known Reno Omokri for years. He said Reno was not the man people saw online. He called him a smooth talker who lies calmly and confidently. According to Mike, Reno had built his life on attention and manipulation, always finding a way to turn any story into something that benefits him. Mike went on to say that the fancy cars Reno flaunted online weren't even his. He claimed that 2 of the cars Reno once showed in a viral video actually belonged to one of his friends in Texas. Reno had only ridden in them, filmed himself, and later claimed they were his own. Then Mike dropped an even bigger twist. He said Reno lied about the meetings in Nigeria. There was no private talk with President Tinubu. No visit with the National Security Advisor. No audience with the Sultan. Everything, according to Mike, was a show, a performance for social media. In his post, Mike didn't sound angry. He sounded disappointed. He said Reno used to stand for truth, but somewhere along the line, power and fame changed him. He ended his post with a sentence that caught everyone's attention. "How do you know Reno Omokri is lying? His lips are moving." Those words spread fast. By morning, Reno's name was everywhere, trending on X, Facebook, and YouTube. People shared old videos, comparing what he said
I've
then
recently
to what he
seen the
says now.
statements by Senator Ted Cruz alleging that there is a Christian genocide which is being aided by Nigerian officials. Now, I don't know if Senator Ted Cruz knows this, but the head of the Nigerian army, the chief of army staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, is a Christian. The head of the Nigerian police, Inspector General of Police Egbertokun, is another Christian. Now, these are the 2 foremost bodies in Nigeria that are security agencies, the army and the police. Now, does it make sense that 2 Christians will be officially aiding a genocide against Christians? No, common sense says no. What's happening in Nigeria is that in the northeast, we've got what the senator calls Boko Haram, but which is in reality the Islamic State in the West African province. Now, what they want is an Islamic State. So they're fighting the Nigerian state. They don't care if you're Muslim or if you're Christian. They're fighting the Nigerian state because the Nigerian state is a secular state. It's not a Muslim country, it's not a Christian country, it's a secular country. Nigeria is the largest Islamo-Christian nation on earth. So that's what they're doing. Now, in the northwest of the country, you've got bandits, and those are opportunistic criminals. They are attacking people indiscriminately to get ransoms from kidnaps, to get people to pay them protection money. And sadly, most of the people that they're doing this to are Muslims. And then you come to the north central of the country, what's called the Middle Belt, and you have an ancient dispute between herders and farmers. Now, in the colonial era, the British set up what they call the Rural Grazing Area, RUGA. But then in post-colonial Nigeria, because of urban-rural drift and modernity, these RUGAs were taken over by farms, by residences and businesses. And so it's exacerbated the crisis between the herders and the farmers. So there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria.
Many called him out, saying he had become a public actor instead of a truth teller. But the story was far from over. Because as the internet exploded, Reno Omokri was already planning his next move, and it would only make things worse. As Mike Arnold's posts spread across social media, the pressure on Reno Omokri grew heavier by the hour.
Across Nigeria generally, people are being killed. All right? And the fact that people are being killed is even a sad indictment on Nigeria as a country. So rather than us trying to go and lobby, we should be crying in shame that Nigerians are being slaughtered. Christians, Muslims, in Christian communities, yes, there's been heavy killings. You remember what happened in the community in Jos around last Christmas? Yeah. Heavy killings. Second point, you called somebody for a fact-finding mission. The person gave a report of a fact-finding mission. Why are we disagreeing? A day before, in the television, you said that these people were brought in for a fact-finding mission. They have given their report. Why are we disagreeing? If Mayor Blanco said, based on his fact-finding, he's written a report that he saw Christian genocide over the years, that's the report of the committee that you set up for fact-finding mission. I don't know when we started doing fact-finding mission in Nigeria for something that's happening in America, or is it because we want to go and send the likes of Mayor Blanco that he says friend to Ted Cruz? I'm not sure he's that close to Ted Cruz. I'm not sure he's that close to associate of Trump. So why are we disagreeing with the fact-finding mission? That's the part I don't even understand here. And you see these attempts to play politics with the blood of human beings. Let's be careful. Human blood, and that's why I was quick to speak yesterday about the pardon. Human blood is not what we can play propaganda with. Please, when we are doing propaganda, when lives are involved, please, let's just move away from propaganda about human blood. Because the blood will ask questions. And we should be very careful. So I don't see anything Mayor Arnold has done by exposing the report of his fact-finding mission.
People flooded his pages with questions. Why did you lie about the meetings? Why deny what's happening in these communities? Why invite Mike Arnold if you didn't want him to tell the truth? At first, Reno stayed quiet. Then suddenly, he locked his comment section. No one could reply, no one could question him. It was as if he wanted to silence the noise. Today, the story of Reno and Mike still trends whenever either man posts online. Some say Mike was brave for speaking up. Others insist Reno was wrongly attacked. But the truth? No one can say for sure, because the real story might still be unfolding behind closed doors. And as Mike once said before walking off set during that last interview, the internet never forgets. But it also never stops watching.